You've reached the Shar Hotline, your pep talk turned podcast. It's your direct line to unshakable confidence, unapologetic self-love, and the permission slip you didn't know you needed to show up as your true self. This is your safe space for a whole lot of heart, honesty, humor, and healing. I'm your host, Shar, a self-love and confidence coach, your compassionately candid hype woman and a woman of color on a mission to help you ditch the BS, cultural conditioning, your own self-doubt, or what society or your family says you should be. Together, we'll figure out what it means to embrace your true self, get out of your own way, set boundaries, and live a fulfilling life on your terms. Whether you're a recovering perfectionist, overcoming people-pleasing, here for the listeners' questions, or getting some actual tools, join me to feel seen, heard, and empowered. Tune on in and learn to love yourself first, always. You've reached the Shar Hotline, your pep talk turned podcast. It's your direct line to unshakable confidence, unapologetic self-love, and the permission slip you didn't know you needed to show up as your true self. This is your safe space for a whole lot of heart, honesty, humor, and healing. I'm your host, Shar, a self-love and confidence coach, your compassionately candid hype woman and a woman of color on a mission to help you ditch the BS, cultural conditioning, your own self-doubt, or what society or your family says you should be. Together, we'll figure out what it means to embrace your true self, get out of your own way, set boundaries, and live a fulfilling life on your terms. Whether you're a recovering perfectionist, overcoming people-pleasing, here for the listeners' questions, or getting some actual tools, join me to feel seen, heard, and empowered. Tune on in and learn to love yourself first, always. Welcome back to the Shar Hotline, and today I want to talk about something we all have, but most of us ignore. And whether you know this is the word to articulate it or not, it's your intuition, our intuition, that gut feeling, that knowing, that voice that might sometimes be a whisper or sometimes it's yelling at you. Don't do it, or this is for you, just go for it. Let's be real. How often do we actually listen to it? I think a lot of us often struggle with that. I think so because I definitely struggle with it. And for sure, the clients that I've worked with, I want to say almost all of the time has always been an issue or a topic that's come up where how do we not just listen to ourselves, but be brave enough to listen to ourselves and trust ourselves. And so I want you to think about a time that you didn't listen to your gut feeling, your intuition, and you regretted it and the outcome sucked. And also think about a time that you did follow your gut and trusted your intuition and that voice, and it changed everything and it was rewarding. I just want to acknowledge how hard it can be to trust yourself, let alone just listen to yourself. And it's because we've been conditioned to second guess ourselves. So we'll start with that. Like, why do we struggle to listen and trust ourselves, to our intuition? I'd say it's fear, conditioning, and for the people pleasers in the house, that's a big factor. And that inner critic who loves to run her mouth and make you second guess yourself. That sucks. And why we're taught that and why we struggle with that, we're taught to seek external validation, whether it's from society, our parents, bosses, experts, and especially in this digital age where we have a saturated amount of resources and things. Like, come on, how many times do we just Google everything instead of just listening to ourselves and making a decision? For me, especially, and as an example, like I just say I want to do a lot of research, but like I overdo it because I need something somewhere to just tell me, yes, this is the right decision. But oftentimes I can't find it. As simple as like starting from we're little kids at school or within our homes, it's, respect your elders, but then also like make your own decisions. So it's this battle all the time. And we're systemically like within our school taught to learn and test a certain way. And then when we go into the grown-up world in our careers or in office or corporate world, it's you get assignments, you do as you're told almost often. And so we're taught to seek external validation. Oftentimes we try to seek the approval of our parents as kids, as adults too. And the second one is like the fear of being wrong, making a mistake, making the quote unquote wrong choice, and what people might think of us, what it might mean about us if we fail, or for me, fear of failure is a big one, or if we make a mistake, what does that mean about us? And oftentimes you learn from it. I've talked about on a different episode about failure and success and how we define it and how we have to reframe that as well too. I think also for this, I would say why we oftentimes struggle with trusting ourselves. It's without getting too high on my soapbox about social justice, decolonization, and EDI, which is equity, diversity, inclusion work, which is another part of my work. It's, yeah, the masculine corporate hustle energy that we overanalyze instead of feel, right? And oftentimes women are just saying we're too emotional, we feel too much, right? And so is that a bad thing? Why can't we learn to balance the masculine and the feminine energy, which is a lot of work I've done last year in 2024, which my word of the year for 2024 was flow, which you may have heard was really learning to listen, how to listen to myself, listen to my intuition, follow my intuition, and be in flow and feel that light, joyful, fulfilling energy. And then now this year, my word is elevate, which is all about acting on it and taking it to the next level, my personal life, my professional life, my career, my business, and how to create more positive impact in the world and make the world a better place by one human at a time and making them love themselves. I would say, yeah, let's just start with that's why we struggle to trust ourselves. I want to throw in some personal examples if it might help you. And I would say, before my now forever partner that I'm with, my forever partner, Travis, that I'm married to, we've been together for 11, 12 years. Before that, and I always say Travis was my first and only healthy romantic relationship. Before that, I had all pretty shitty romantic relationships. And, like I have been physically pushed around and hurt. And they just weren't a good fit. That person, those people themselves, and then also I was in a different place because I think a friend finally came and told me, it was like, you're just picking up these charity cases, not to like make it sound horrible, but it's like I was trying to help people. He was like, oh, they're broken. Let me try to help them. And, the red flags that came up, I would try to justify it and be like, oh, they're just going through this or they had this as a kid. And in the end, obviously, in retrospect, it was me myself having to do more work so that I'm not trying to help others. I need to help fix myself and heal myself. But yeah, all the red flags. Those are the times when we have those gut feelings and we ignore it, is when we try to justify the red flags of people, situations, or things that just aren't a good fit for us. And we push that aside. And, of course, I regret those shitty relationships. But yes, in retrospect, they made me who I am and made me learn what works and what doesn't work. But, maybe some of those shouldn't have lasted so long. Like there was one really bad relationship that lasted for like on and off for like 5 years. And it was really not healthy. And yeah, that would be a time. And to flip that, on the what time I did listen was, when I did meet my forever partner now, Travis, he drunkenly told me he loved me very early on in our dating relationship. And I freaked out. But I'm so glad that I finally let my guard down and listened to my intuition. Like, you know what? This guy might be the one. This guy just, it feels right. It was so effortlessly great. Like, no games. And it was just natural and organic. And we really enjoyed each other's company and really supported each other. And I finally let my guard down. And that, obviously, as you know, right now has been the best decision because, yeah, we're so in love. He is definitely my favorite person in the world. Don't get me wrong, he drives me insane some days. We have our highs and lows, like every relationship, but we put in the work. And I still get giddy after 11 years. Like I get giddy to like move plans around to make sure I go pick him up at the airport and park and go in and I like skip towards him. And I was like the only partner that went to pick up my partner from a guy's trip that time. And, we still love each other's company and we miss each other amidst the parenthood journey of having two kids that don't let us hold hands sometimes. And then on the other side of like professional careers, I decided to be a life coach and start my coaching consulting business in 2019. But I joke, not so jokingly, was a coach in hiding for 5 years because of the fear of failure and feeling I need to prove myself before I can start my business. But like that just logistically, rationally would not work. And so finally in 2024, listening to myself and just trusting myself, I took the leap and went public and hired resources and invested in myself and my business. And it was the best decision ever. I love working in my business. It feels so fulfilling. It doesn't even feel like a job. I joke, I live and breathe my business because it's just so rewarding to do the work I get to do, that it's such a privilege and an honor to get to be a small part in people's lives, to make them love themselves or help them love themselves and give them the tools to and practice with them and be a small part in people's journeys. And that was a great decision. But I didn't listen to myself for 5 years. And I was really sad and not happy and kind of just looking for external resources to tell me if this is the right decision or not. And really, I just had to just take the leap and trust myself. So, to wrap it up, I want to give you some tools. How do we actually start listening to ourselves and be brave enough to trust what we hear? So, there'll be four. So, one is filter out the noise and tune into yourself. Pause and check in with yourself. Take 3 deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, with your eyes closed. Where do you feel the answer is in your body? What do you feel? What do you hear? Your intuition speaks through those feelings, not spreadsheets or research, which I often do. I research like crazy, right? And just try to listen to yourself. Honor your values and what is important to you. A second one to take that tangibly is then to track your intuitive hits. Keep a gut feelings journal or whatever it is, write it down somewhere or on your phone. Write down when you did follow your intuition and it served you well and it was rewarding, and write down the times you didn't listen to your intuition and it sucked and you regretted it. And just start seeing those patterns. A third one is start small with low stakes decisions. Don't wait for the big life changing moments. Go for it if you feel right, but maybe just practice small. I think often that's with a law of merit. Practice makes perfect. Whatever perfect means, I know. Which route do I want to take? Which email to send? What do I want to order at brunch? Try to just think fast and don't overthink. And I know that's hard for a lot of people. So it's a practice. We practice that muscle of not overthinking everything. And then the fourth one, which is a big one for me, is letting go of needing approval. Let go. People will always have opinions, but at the end of the day, you have to live with your choices. No one else is living your life but you. You can ask for opinions and insight and perspective, but then take it with a grain of salt or just, I often say this to my clients and people because I feel like I coach everyone in my personal life too, but take it or leave it or make it your own. Take it or leave it or make it your own. So you can take insight from someone you really love and trust, but then make it your own if it doesn't feel totally right. So, yeah, I hope those help. My personal stories help. Your intuition already knows the way. Your job is to be brave enough to follow it. A book that had helped me along the way, and it's not even about intuition or like the self growth, it's called The Gift of Fear. And it's more so about that intuition is that those red flags are fear, but it's protecting you and it's a gift. And it's completely unrelated to like spiritual self growth. But my therapist actually recommended it to me because for me, it was as a sexual assault trauma survivor and now a parent. I think it was when I was having my first kid or just had my first kid. I had a worry of how do I parent without being too paranoid, but still protect my child. And so my therapist at the time had recommended this book, The Gift of Fear. It's an easy read. It's a very interesting read. Content warning, there may be some triggers, but I was able to get through it, but everyone is different. And it really helped me understand in more logical, rational terms of how to listen to our intuition. So an example that really stood out to me is, if you're a woman in a dark underground parkade, you're loading your trunk with groceries or whatever, someone that you did not see from another car anywhere, just comes out of nowhere. A male, probably, like, this is gender stereotypes, but stats for stats. Someone comes out and is like, "Hey, can I help you?" And you're like, your gut, you're just like, this person gives me the creeps. Come on, girls, you all have that vibe. This person gives you the creeps, and you're like, "No, thank you," and they still persist and push. It's like, "What are you? I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to attack you. Just let me help you." And I think for me, and what stood out for me in this book, in this example was, society conditions us like, don't be rude. And, like, what if you just, there are two things. One, if you just like, okay, sure, help me. And this person ends up attacking you and is a predator, that would suck. But what if we just stood up? Like, who cares if the stranger thinks you're a bitch? What if we just stood up for ourselves like, no, thank you. I'm not comfortable with you helping me. Please leave me alone. Sure, you're rude, but you don't know this person and you'll go on in your life and you may have just protected yourself from being attacked. Okay, that took a really dark turn, but I would recommend that book. There's also a follow up to that book called Protecting the Gift, which is for parents and caregivers, which was very helpful for me too. If that resonates with anyone, check it out. If not, totally cool. Again, take it or leave it or make it your own. And so if any of this resonated with you, feel free to DM me or send me any suggestions that you might like to see for future topics or guests on the show. The link will be in the show notes. Please subscribe, share, and tune on into the next episode. And as always, love yourself first and have a wonderful day. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Shar Hotline. I hope you're walking away feeling seen, supported, and a little more at home in yourself. Healing isn't always easy, but remember, you don't have to do this alone. I got you. Every time you choose self-love, self-trust, and self-compassion, you're rewriting old stories and stepping into your damn power. And I'm all about helping you get there. Got a burning question, a messy situation, or a soul shift you're navigating? Please feel free to slide into my inbox with a Dear Shar letter at sharwongrichardson.com/Dear Shar, or check the show notes for the link. And let's unpack it together in a future episode. Until next time, love yourself first, always. Your hype woman, Shar.